I'm Adora Crystal. Welcome to the Rich Queen podcast. I believe that we each came here to experience, create, express something so freaking epic. And I believe that your life and all that you create is your queendom. Your journey to rich living. Whatever that is for you starts now.
So, all right, everybody, this is the Rich Queen podcast, and I love sharing my very favorite people with you. And one of my new favorite people is Maxine Taylor, the world's first ever licensed astrologist. We're not only going to talk about what that journey was like in 1966, getting that done in the Bible Belt with the KKK all around, spoiler alert, but we're going to talk about what you know about astrology. You're not meant to be a victim of your astrology. You're meant to be empowered by it. And it's time to rip up the false beliefs about like hiding under a rock when Mercury's in retrograde or whatever else you're doing. And I am so excited to have you here, Maxine. Thank you so much for being here. And we've just got to dive into the story.
I'm ready. Ask me anything you like.
Yeah, so tell me about that. So it's 1966. How did you discover astrology? And then we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, I moved to Atlanta in 1966, and my life absolutely was transformed. I had no idea that it would be such a total 180-degree turn for me. It was like a week after I'd moved to Atlanta, and I was sitting on an elegantly decorated houseboat in the middle of Lake Lanier. And there were a bunch of people eating and drinking. Oh, it was just wonderful. And there was a much older lady there. Now, remember, I was in my 20s, so everybody was older than I was. Now, everybody's younger than I am, but back then, everybody was older than I was. And she started telling me all about myself based on our sun sign, our mutual sun sign. And prior to that, I used to just poo-poo all that stuff. And there's nothing worse than the arrogance of youth. That's who I was. And so as she started talking to me, she told me what was going on in my life and blew me out of the frame. And so I started studying it. Now, remember, this is 1966, no internet, no nothing. But I bought books through the American Federation of Astrologers, and I started studying. And I took a course from a wonderful woman who became a dear friend of mine and mentor. And as I studied, I found out that astrology was illegal all over the country.
It was illegal.
It was considered, and still is, fortune telling in many places. And so all of a sudden, Adora, one day it hit me. I have to legalize astrology. Well, just
as a woman in 1966 in the Bible Belt.
Well, actually, this was in 1967. It was
okay.
6 months later.
Okay.
Big deal, I know. So I thought I have to legalize it, and I went to Cobb County and went to the business license office and sat there. I was a school teacher at the time. And this was, I have to back up just a teeny tiny bit and tell you that I didn't suddenly become a convert, so to speak. Okay. But after meeting that lady on the houseboat, I bought one of those little books that said all of your financial problems will be resolved on the 18th of August. And I didn't have a teaching job yet in Atlanta. And it was hand to mouth feeding. And sure enough, on the 18th of August, I got my $800 retirement check from Dade County, Florida.
What?
In 1966, $800 was like $1,000. That's all I needed. I did that 180. And then I studied. And then I said, I have to get it legalized. And I wasn't getting anything done by sitting in the business license office. So I picked myself up after a couple of months. It finally dawned on me, nothing's happening here. I went to the office of the chairman of the Cobb County Commissioners. His name was Ernest Barrett. And those of you who live in the South know that we have Barrett Parkway now, named after this beautiful man. And I said, I want a hearing with your commissioners. And he said, what for? I said, I want to legalize astrology. Now, keep in mind, this was Cobb County, Georgia. I live in Cobb County. Cobb County, Georgia.
Like, if we don't know, or we're in Australia or Trinidad, because I know Princess is watching from Trinidad. Tell us, what's Cobb County? What does that look like? Yeah.
It was back then the most conservative, closed-minded place you could live in the Atlanta area, and all over Georgia followed suit. And here I am marching in there for a meeting with the Cobb County Commission.
And how old were you? How old were you?
I was, let's see, this was 1969, so I was 26.
Okay, 26
years
years old. I'm going to legalize this. How bold. How amazing. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so I was driven. I got the word from Spirit, and I have always listened since I moved to Atlanta. When Spirit speaks, I obey. I might argue with it, but I still obey.
Listen to that. When Spirit speaks, I obey. When Spirit speaks, I obey. Make it a mantra if you're listening. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, honey. And so I walk into this big room, and the Cobb County commissioners are sitting up on a dais, and it's, I have to look up to them, and my knees are knocking. I'm thinking, oh boy, now what? Well, they were so gracious, and the only thing I could do to help them understand astrology was tell them all about themselves. I got their sun signs, and I talked about each one. And then one of them said, well, my grandfather or grandpappy always planted his crops by the moon. And another one said, well, I fish by the moon. Well, that's astrology. Now, it was November of 1969. And, I forgot to tell you, because astrology was considered fortune telling, you could get a fortune telling license in Cobb County if you wanted it. It only cost, drum roll, $1,500.
Back then. Wow.
Well, yeah. And who wanted to be called a fortune teller, even if you had that kind of cash stuck in your mattress? So this was, they said it's November. There's only 1 month left. Let's give her a real sure enough license to practice astrology, charge her $100. And because there's only 1 month left, charge her $10. I drove home with a license in my hand, the first, not just in Georgia, but in the United States, to practice astrology for $10. You think I was levitating?
Yeah.
I was a maniac. It was surreal. It was an out-of-body experience. And then, of course, I had studied with this beautiful group of women who were much older and much wiser. And I thought, well, I need to do something for them. They live in the city of Atlanta. So I had a bill introduced into the Georgia House of Representatives to legalize astrology in those municipalities of 1 million people or more. That was Atlanta. And it passed.
Wow.
But then the group that I was working with, these beautiful women, said, well, we can't protect the public from the unqualified practitioner. So I went to the Board of Aldermen in Atlanta and spoke with White Fowler. He is since our senator and ambassador to India, I believe. And I told him we need an examining board. We will volunteer our time. This is to protect the public. Long story short, the Atlanta Board of Astrology Examiners was established. That's just the beginning of what I accomplished, but I can't take credit for it because I was just a vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't me. Now, when you're young and perky and all that.
And what did you say the other day? Everything points up.
Yes, that's what I said the other day. Yes, that's what I said. Yes, everything points up, and you're cute and adorable. They want to hear what you want.
Yeah,
and they want to give it to you.
Yeah,
and they were absolutely lovely, absolutely lovely. And so since then, I was CNN's on-air astrologer when they started broadcasting. What are the chances of that? Live TV. And I've been grateful. I ran into Ted Turner at an event and a few years back, and I said, Ted, I am so grateful to you. Thank you for being so brave and having an astrologer. At the time, I called myself Georgia's first licensed astrologer because I hadn't realized yet it was the first in the country, to have me on your network. And it was just a joy to do it. And so I loved live TV because a lot of people, and the two hosts on the show, the guy in particular, kind of teased me about being an astrologer.
Yeah.
And so I teased him back. And once you've said it, you can't unsay it. So it was a fun time. And it was a very exciting time. And Larry King interviewed me years later. He's a beautiful man. And anyhow, I became very well known. And because I created the legalization of astrology, other astrologers were able to practice astrology here in Atlanta. Now, what is so interesting with the internet now, the advent of the internet, because nobody is supposed to come to your door. That's why they had the license. They didn't want gypsy fortune tellers knocking on people's doors. Right. Well, with the internet, nobody comes to your door.
Right.
I do readings on people in Europe, Asia, all over the world.
You did a beautiful reading for me, and it comes across really, really lovely. So much love, so much. I mean, I've been reading astrology since, probably whenever I was younger, but started reading my horoscope daily. Once I worked with a designer who dressed Prince, Jay Gerard. And when I first met her, she goes, sit down, let me read your horoscope. And every month she would print all of our horoscopes out from a couple different sites, and we would kind of plot and plan. And my roommate was the former keyboard player in the Gap band, and he was her tarot card reader. So she was just really into that. And yeah, so I think it's very, very valuable, but I want to ask a couple things. So for people who may be watching, because I am in Texas and I was Bible Club president and I have deep Southern roots too. For people who may be reading and going, what would you say is a simple explanation of astrology and the benefit of reading it? Now, most of the people that are going to watch or listen to this are already checking out their horoscopes, so we'll move past this pretty quickly, but I'd love to know your take.
Well, they've probably already gone to my YouTube channel to watch videos while we're talking.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I never argue with anyone who wants me to prove that astrology works. Astrology needs no proof. Yeah. It's like saying, do you believe? Well, they say I can't believe in astrology. Don't. Have your chart done by a reputable astrologer, and it will convince you. It's like saying, well, do you believe in geometry? Do you believe in algebra? Well, if you haven't studied it yet, you don't know. Astrology, look, we are in a holographic universe, as above, so below. There is a synchronicity between God and man. And I remember when I first started thinking about legalizing astrology, I went to a priest, a minister, and a rabbi. And I remember the minister saying to me, God put the stars in the heavens for signs. And I said, and I'm honored to be able to read those signs. And we were right in tune. Astrology reflects where you are at. It is the greatest magical, unbelievable tool for understanding how awesome you are. Now, a lot of people are afraid of going to an astrology because they're afraid you're going to tell them something they don't want to hear. And I get it. Most people are afraid that you're going to tell them they're going to die. That is the greatest fear. And the truth is, in your own chart, when you leave your body, it shows as a blessing. There is never anything negative about it. So it's very difficult to read death. And why would you want to if it's going to be such a lovely trip? The way I read people is I have this mantra: you are fabulous, deal with it.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I mean that. So astrology is the greatest way to see your gifts, your talents, what makes you unique and special, because no two Aries are alike, no two Leos are alike, no two Virgos are alike, because when we cast the horoscope, it's cast for the exact minute you were born and the month, day, and year, and the city. So does that help?
Absolutely, it helps. And so I want to have a little fun in a moment by going over some of the sun signs. But before we do, and at the end, I'm going to tell them how they can work with you. I know we've got a special going on, and you're also going to be taking on people who want to be your apprenticeship program. I don't know what the proper languaging is, but so I want to make sure that they know how to contact you if they feel really called. And I've got lots of healers and people that are entrepreneurial and up to contribution through their career. So we definitely want to get to that. But so what are some basic tips if they never get to work with you when looking at your astrology to interpret and use it in a more powerful way versus this kind of victim way of like, oh no, Mercury's in retrograde. Oh no, this is happening. Oh no, someone's going to do something wrong to me today. Like how do you suggest people look at their daily?
Oh, thank you. That's such a fabulous question. I've been doing this for so many decades, and I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. But of course you would ask. Okay. So for those of you watching, in case you didn't recognize this, the first time I met Adora, I was crazy about her. We clicked. Our charts blend so beautifully. And you will feel that when you meet somebody whose chart just clicks with yours. You probably have many times. Okay, here's what I would suggest. Go to my YouTube channel, Maxine Taylor Astrologer, and watch the videos. I do monthly videos on everybody's sun sign, and you will notice that I make it very, very positive, because whatever you believe, you create, and we do have free will in astrology. Now, if you know your birthday, you're an Aries or a Taurus or a Gemini, or if you're on the cusp, meaning you're straddling both signs, that's cool. If you also know what your rising sign is, the rising sign or the ascendant is the most personal point in the chart. It describes your physical appearance, your personality. It's stronger very often than the sun sign. So if you will watch the video on your rising sign, that will be really helpful to you. And by the way, if you don't have a copy of your actual chart, I don't have a printout here, but if you go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com, I will send you free of charge a copy of your actual chart. Just send me your birth data and you'll have it. And when I send it to you, if you have questions, of course you can ask. So that's what I tell people to do. Look at your sun sign, look at your rising sign, and look at your moon sign if you know what it is. Now, a lot of people are saying, what moon? I don't know where that is. Well, if I send you a copy of your chart and you have questions, I'll tell you where it is. And then you have 3 videos to watch that really help you.
That is awesome. 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 I love it. So one, and I just want to speak to this because I'm very, very particular about who gets to speak into my life, who, whenever I am wanting prayer or needing to see something higher or pull something in because I'm in a contrast moment, there is a very tiny circle of people that I make privy to what's going on. And here's why. Janine is one of them. Mesa, a dear friend of mine. I'll give a little example. My dog got out and I was 20 minutes away, and I called her to pray with me to see, because why? Because when she prays, she goes right to visualizing my dog in the house, happy, and us smiling and petting. She doesn't go through all the fear, oh no, and the drama energy. And I really believe that that magic that we create as we observe, as we think, that we're constantly praying, and our worry is praying for something we don't want, our, imagining beautiful things is praying for what we do, our gratitude, all that stuff. So I'm really very careful about anything that I read, who could pull a card for me, any of that. And so that's why I brought Maxine to you all, because of the way that she presents the horoscopes and the information in such a loving, empowered way. And I suggest, whether you go to Maxine or you go to someone else, in anything that you do, the person that gets to speak into your life must hold the highest vibration for you. Not that they won't notice what could be a challenge and give you solution, but there's a difference. Some people really focus on the negatives and fear-based, and then your mind, your energy syncs up with that. And you can become a victim of it purely from the placebo effect, from the co-creator, from the spirit in the being that decided this was important. So, I'm a strong-minded person. If someone says something to me, it's not going to throw me off, but my inner circle is very tight. And I think it's really important, which is one of the reasons I love so much what you're up to, and showing other women and men how to work with astrology in this way, so that as they're sharing with people, they can really empower them versus like make them feel like, no, I need to call my person or something's going to go wrong, Yeah.
I think that, yes. And I think that's what attracted me to you as a friend, because we are here to serve. And my mission, as I see it, is to empower you to empower yourself. Well, you can't do that if somebody's saying, oh, good grief, I don't know how to tell you this, but Saturn is blah, 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 blah. And I get emails from people who say things like that. And I lose my political correctness.
Well, and so say a little bit more about the ascendant sign. We'll give the example of my chart because this is something I haven't heard before. And then we'll maybe do a high view of each sign for people, just for fun. And then I've got a couple of attendees here that are part of Rich Queen Academy. So they get a VIP seat here, and you're welcome to ask any questions, those of you that are in the actual Zoom room. And if you're watching the live or the replay, any questions or comments you have, we'll come back and look at them. So certainly put your questions and comments there as well. So you're saying the ascendant sometimes is more who you are than even the sun sign. And so my ascendant is that Leo?
Yes, great, grand, glorious Leo.
And so what does that mean? So tell me, and Janine's a Leo, by the way.
Oh, lovely. Well, of course, we can't just do it. Everybody's going to want to hear there. So we get that. We got you. We got you covered, kids. Leo is the king or queen of beef. And I have to say, when I talk about Leo, great, grand, glorious Leo, because the party does not begin until Leo arrives. Leo makes life an adventure. This is why they're like the Pied Piper. Children adore them. People adore them. Leo Leo's message is life is a game.
Yeah.
Come play with me.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And you gave me a great long video, so we don't have to go deep with me. I just wanted to give an example of, as you were sharing that, it opened up, when I watched the video that you gave me, it opened up so many things. One of the things that you shared was the levels of deep self-love that, and which has been my whole life's mission, is learning to love myself and then teaching and sharing with other people how to love themselves. And so when that came up in my chart, it was really so cool. And so just like, of course, wow, it makes so much sense. It's like unlocking a superpower in a new way, because it's reinforcing it, I should say, because I've definitely spent, over 20 years working on that lesson and communicating that lesson to others. So I love what you're saying. So they should watch your videos, go look at get their free chart, watch the video about their sun sign, their rising sign, and also their moon sign, and you'll know a lot about what's going on. And then let me look at the attendees, and I'm going to just see if we have, okay, so I'm going to allow you all to chat in the chat box. So if you have a question, and then why don't we go ahead and just start with the overview of the signs while the ladies are putting any questions in that they may want.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to. Well, let's start with the first sign in the zodiac, which is Aries, because Aries says, look, I got things to do. Get with it. Aries says, my way or the highway. If you deal with an Aries, they are very direct. They don't mince words. You'll know where you stand with them. Aries likes a short-term goal with a quick reward. Now, I have a certain amount of Aries in me. Can you imagine that with my Gemini sun? It's like, okay, we ain't left yet. Let's do it. Aries. Aries is dealing with an Aries is like playing tennis on a windy day by yourself. That's Aries. They say, I'll do it myself. I'll figure it out myself. And all you have to do with an Aries is realize that if things don't go just right, their temper is very short. They'll get upset, and they're over it just as quickly. They don't carry it around with them. Now, this is different from Taurus, our next sign. Taurus, for goodness sake. Aries is the ram. They go forward, banging heads. Taurus is the bull. Very placid, gentle. Remember, a bull, it takes a long time you got to wave a red flag at a bull to get it upset. But when it's upset, you have not seen temper with an Aries. Taurus is a stampeding bull. It's like a locomotive coming at you full force. They put their head down and they just slam into you. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of beauty and love. And they love the security of a routine. Aries wants short-term goal, quick reward. Taurus says, let me know what time I'm getting up every single day. I'll show up. I'll have to have sugar before I get to work. So, it'll be Starbucks with, a bear claw or something. Then every day I want to know I leave at a certain hour. And come the weekend, I'm doing nothing. I've worked 5 days and I deserve to relax. And Taurus can teach us how to relax because that's what they do best. They are steadfast and they get the job done in their own time. Now, of course, the next sign is our favorite, Gemini. If you're Gemini, I mean, you've got a real smart mouth. You've got a great sense of humor. You're a talker. You're a communicator. You don't look your age. You don't act your age. Gemini gets bored very, very easily. And so they need constant stimulation. And I would say if you're dealing with a Gemini, keep the furniture moving around, keep the pictures moving on the walls, make it fun. They've got to be in motion all the time. And they are very, very clever, very sarcastic. And you want them at your party because they're icebreakers. They'll talk about anything. Except those of us on the path, we're not interested in small talk. We really want to talk about the deep things, which, but communication is vital, whether it's with another person or with spirit. Now, Cancer is our next sign. I call them moonchild. They're so beautiful. Cancer is a psychic sponge. Cancerians can't go to the mall. They're picking up on everybody. And by the time they leave, they're drained. Now, you might say, that's me, but I'm not a Cancer. That's okay. You've got a lot of psychic ability within you, and the water signs are the psychic ones. And so Cancer is the first of the water signs. Home, family, emotional security. That's what Cancer wants. If they are working in an office, in a cubby, they've turned it into their home. They got pictures of their kids, pictures of their grandkids. They've got candy bars in the drawers. They got a breath mints in the other drawer. They've got a change of clothing. These people are nurturers, and they make everything a home. Cluttered, possibly. They're emotionally attached to things, okay? Leo, of course, great, grand, glorious Leo. We just talked about how Leo is the drama queen or drama king. They make life an adventure. They make it fun. And if you praise Leo, they will turn around and return the compliment. Leo rules the heart. And Leo will open their heart to you. All you got to do is praise them and tell them they're great. It kind of works with most people except for Virgo. That's our next sign. Virgo says, no, I'm not great, and I'll tell you exactly why. Step 1, step 2, step 3, part 1, part 2. I mean, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the same Mercury that rules Gemini, but it's very detail oriented. If you're a Virgo and you wake up in the morning and you have nothing to worry about, you are worried because your shoe is going to drop at some point during the day. And so Virgo wants to serve and be needed. You want them at your next party too, because they are the ones who will grab the big trash can and walk around and clean tables. You don't even have to ask. That's what they do. And now we get to Libra, which we get to opposite signs. Libra is the opposite of Aries. Aries shoots from the hip. They tell it like it is. And they say, well, you'll get over it. Libra is politically correct. It's ruled by Venus. So it says the right thing at the right time to the right person. It is charming. It is delightful till it gets home. And opposite sign kicks in. And you say, wait a minute, Libra, I thought you were supposed to be sweet and lovely. What happened? And Libra says, look, I've been sweet and lovely all day. I get it. I'm going to tell it like it is. And so opposite signs are alike. And a lot of astrologers I've seen don't realize that. It's Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini, Sag, etc. So Libra loves partnership. They love harmony and balance. Everything has to be symmetrical. If you put one potted plant here, you're going to put another one over here. Dinner party. Used to be boy, girl. Now, not so necessary. It could be boy, girl. As long as there is a partnership, they love that.
Awesome.
Now, Scorpio is the next sign. This is Maxine's opinion, the most powerful sign in the zodiac because it is ruled by Pluto, the planet of either total control or total transformation. Pluto is the phoenix rising on its own ashes. So Taurus says, let's have a latte and talk about this. Scorpio says, I will keep your secrets forever. You may entrust them to me. And they are the sign of secrets. They are naturally psychic. They are not interested in all the stuff on top of the table. They want to know, they want to look under the table and see the cause of things. And that gives them the feeling of control and transformation. Now, if you ask Scorpio a direct question, where are you going? The answer is, I'll be back in 10 minutes. They have to have their secrets. They're just going up, to the Dairy Queen for some ice cream. They don't want to tell you where they're going. So you have to know that they have to have their secrets. Okay. Now, Sagittarius is the next sign, and the opposite is Gemini, the talker, the communicator, the teacher. Sagittarius sees the big picture. It sees options open to them that nobody else sees. They're very philosophical. You and I say, oh my God, today's terrible. Oh my God. Sagittarius, maybe the 6-year-old Sagittarius says, Grandma, I know it's terrible today, but it's got to get better. And you say, well, where did I get this little ray of sunshine from? That's Sag, because they see the big picture. They have a natural understanding of human nature. Now, their sense of humor is slapstick.
Yeah.
We're talking frog in punch bowl. We're talking. Oh my God. So Sagittarius will see the big picture, and it has to be free. They have to spread their wings and soar. Now, Capricorn is at the very, very top of our chart, and the opposite is Cancer. Cancer that says, don't yell at me, you'll hurt my feelings. Capricorn is like, it's the goat that works its way from the bottom of the mountain to the very top, eating very frugally and sparingly on the grasses that grow there. And when it reaches the top of the mountain, think of a goat, all 4 hooves at the tippy top. You might say, well, there's only room for one up there. Isn't it lonesome? And Capricorn says, not for those of us with the eyes to appreciate the view. And that's Capricorn. They appreciate the view, and they do things very traditionally. You don't sling your arm around them in public because, after all, what would the neighbors think? And this can be true of Cancer also because it's their opposite sign. Capricorn is very frugal. My father was a Capricorn. And when I learned about astrology, I shared it with my mother and my sister and my father. And at one point, my sister and I really gave him a tough time. And we said, Daddy, you're cheap. You will drive 5 miles out of your way to get gas that's 2 cents cheaper than in the neighborhood. And he said, I am not cheap, I am frugal. And that is how they feel. Of course, we told him he had to have his wallet surgically removed from his pocket, but he didn't appreciate that. Our next sign, next to the last sign of the zodiac, is Aquarius, the opposite of Leo. And Aquarians are ruled by Uranus and Saturn, depending on which type of Aquarian they are. They broke the mold when they created Aquarians. Aquarians march to their own drummer. They are humanitarians. They are impersonal. True story. I had an astrology student once.
That's so wild. Humanitarian and impersonal.
Yes. Yes, they care about strangers just the way they care about their loved ones. But the loved ones, and this story is true. I was teaching astrology, and one of my students said she was married to an Aquarian, and she was kind of trying to get him to say, I love you. You know how sometimes we just need a hug.
Yeah.
And, so she said, I love you. And he said, look, I told you I loved you last week. I haven't changed my mind. And she said, that is a true story. And I realized, okay, they are humanitarian. They see humanity and they care about humanity, but don't tug at their sleeve. You know, their vision is out there. And they forget things. They make lists of things, or they should, because they can't remember little details. They have a much bigger agenda. And the last sign of the zodiac, though not the least, is Pisces. Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. Virgo, cross those T's, dot those I's, make sure it's right. Aquarians say, am I crazy or is the world crazy? Pisceans say, where am I? What am I doing here? I'm confused. Pisceans need to talk. They will talk more than a Gemini or a Cancerian because that's how they get a handle on who they are and where they are. They are the greatest artists, the greatest dramatists. They are very spiritual, and they can be very, very high spiritually or hit the pits of depression because they are so sensitive. And so when I see people with strong Pisces in their chart, I try and encourage them to get in tune with the God within them, with their true self, which is spirit, because that is where they will find love and find what they're looking for. You can't get it from what is created. You can get it from the Creator who lives within us.
Yes.
So that's,
I think that's so true. That was an amazing overview. I love it. I love it. And I know you've got someone coming over. So you have a special that is going on right now. And once we air the podcast, those people can still get the same special. Yes?
Absolutely. This special is good through the month of April.
And what is it?
Oh my goodness. Just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. It is called My Most Excellent April Spring Special. You can order a reading that I do on video for you for $100, which is
crazy to have the world's first licensed astrologist, full of love and vitality and experience, and on the board of astrologists, been on CNN, been with Larry King, reading your freaking chart to you and delivers it in a video. It's amazing. I think it's amazing, an amazing thing to do, an amazing gift to give. And also they can go there to reach out to you if they're interested in talking about your apprenticeship program. Yes?
Yes. And this special, by the way, you can order your birth chart or your annual forecast or a detailed 3-month forecast. It's on video. I don't do this often. I do this at a time when, at the end of the year, everybody wants their forecast for the coming year. But our world has been very unsettled, to say the least, and people need hope.
Yes.
So I offer a special so that it's affordable for everyone. I mean, I think that's an affordable price.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's, yeah.
Because I'm here to serve and to empower others to empower themselves. And so with everything going on, not just in the United States, God knows, but the rest of the world as well, we are one. You're full you are, knowing how awesome you are, knowing what your forecast is and how to best use the planets gives you confidence, it empowers you, and it gives you hope.
Mm-hmm. So awesome.
That's what I offer.
It is such an honor to call you friend. It is amazing to get to share this space with you. Thank you so much for coming on and being with my crowd of people. And I'm certain that people will be going to your website now and then when the podcast is up live as well. So have a beautiful day. I know you have someone coming over in 4 minutes.
Yes. Thank you, darling. And thank you to everybody out there. And may the stars shine brightly on all of you.
I love that. May the stars shine brightly on all of you. So much love.
Hey, it's Adora Crystal again. I hope you so enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you did, please share it with 3 friends right now. Please please use the hashtag the Rich Queen Movement, because we are always giving away prizes to our tribe. And if you want to go deeper with us, be sure to go to therichqueenmovement.com and take the free class that we're offering. It's going to help you unlock massive gifts inside of your own DNA. Until next time, so much love.